You have, as we already pointed out, a phenomenal track record. You got the 2022 midterms right when like a grand total of 3 people in the country got it right. You very early on said Biden should drop. And by the way, here are a list of Democrats who can do way better and it'll happen quickly. Who's going to win this election?
I think
there are now reports floating around that Trump wants to fire his campaign manager, Chris LaCivita. It's not apparently just from the big man himself. It's from other people at the top of the Trump campaign. There's been a lot of chatter about this on social media. And here we go again, man. Here we go again. So this is tale as old as time, where Trump likes to, when things are going south, it's everybody else's fault. It's not his fault. He did nothing wrong. He's perfect. He's ideal. And obviously, you have to pawn this off to some staffer who probably gets like 7% of the things he suggests to actually be taken by Donald Trump. So the bottom line is this. Who decided to bring up Kamala's race? Was that Chris LaCivita or was that Donald Trump? By the way, there were reports that all of Trump's staffers were like, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't say the line about she used to be Indian. She used to be Indian and then she chose to become a black person. Everybody around him was like, don't do that. It's not going to work. It's not going to land. This is a bad idea. This is going to make you go down in the polls. What does he do? He goes out there. He does it. And then, of course, he turns around and be like, why did you guys have this bad strategy for me? Why did you guys have the... You came up with the strategy. It was you. So he's the one who decided to bring up Kamala's race. He's the one who decided to obsess over crowd sizes to the point where he was falsely claiming that Kamala was using AI to make her crowds look bigger, and he was calling that cheating. And like, this is why you're going down in the polls, because you're becoming massively unhinged. You had 2.5 seconds of not being unhinged after you got shot at, but now you're going in the wrong direction. Who also decided to call Kamala low IQ and call Kamala dumb? That was Trump. I'm sure it was not his campaign staffers who were like, I have an idea. You should go out there and smear her intelligence repeatedly. By the way, a poll came out that shows that the American people think Kamala is definitely more intelligent than Trump. That's probably making him lose his damn mind. Trump decided, I'm going to still go out there and whine about the 2020 election. I'm going to go out there and every single argument that I used against Joe Biden, I'm now just going to cut and paste and use against Kamala Harris, right? Like Jon Stewart had a great compilation of the arguments used against Biden, and then he just says the exact same things against Kamala. If you want to know why your campaign is going poorly, look in the mirror. Look in the mirror. These are all the decisions that you made. And most importantly, it was the big man himself who decided, I'm going to greenlight J.D. Vance. Let's have J.D. Vance on the ticket. Now, there was reporting that both Elon Musk and Tucker Carlson and Trump's idiot sons, Don and Eric, they also had a say in picking J.D. Vance. But you shouldn't have listened to him, right? Like, you could have said, no, fuck off. I want Doug Burgum, which is what the reporting said Trump really did want. But what are you going to do now? You're going to fire your sons? Is that what you're going to do? You're gonna have a stern talking to with Elon Musk and Tucker Carlson for having horrible political instincts? The fact of the matter is, the buck stops with Trump. That's the bottom line. The buck stops with Trump, and he always acts like it doesn't. But even more frustratingly, his people act like the buck doesn't stop with him. It honestly reminds me of all the lines they have about, the deep state, and Trump is being sabotaged by his advisors and by the deep state and by the intelligence agencies. And we've heard this time and time and time again. To this day, people still blame not Trump for Trump's foreign policy decisions. So Trump gets to be portrayed as an anti-elitist, anti-war, anti-establishment kind of guy. Meanwhile, he increased drone strikes 432%. He kept us in Iraq, kept us in Afghanistan, bombed Syria, assassinated a top Iranian commander who was fighting ISIS, tried to coup Venezuela, ripped up the Iran agreement, greenlit Saudi Arabia's genocide in Yemen and armed them as they did it. He says he wants war with Mexico in his second term. He says we should let Israel, quote, finish the job. Let them finish the job. He, of course, hired John Bolton and Mike Pompeo and Gina Haspel and all these insane neocon warmongers. And still, at the end of the day, despite that entire record, people turn around and go, man, Trump's advisors are really sending him down the wrong path. For the love of Christ, it is him. He is the one making the decisions. And the people around him are the fall people, right? This is why he had one of the highest turnovers in his administration. So the fact that people can't acknowledge this very basic fact. And again, it's not just him. If it was just him, we wouldn't be talking about this. I expect this from Donald Trump. The real issue is other people in his orbit believe this, that he's perfect and people around him are giving him bad advice. But more importantly, his followers on social media and the right-wing base seem to believe this fantasy as well. Trump somehow gets all the credit for all of the good things and then none of the blame for all of the bad things. No, he is in control. He is in charge. He is making all the decisions. He has no filter. He shoots from the hip. And it was him that came up with the horrible strategy of questioning Kamala Harris's race, obsessing over crowd size, calling her Kamabla, which still to this day, nobody even really knows what the fuck that means. Calling her low IQ and dumb, it's going to fucking backfire. It's going to fucking backfire. So he's a mess, man. He's a mess and he's scrambling. And this is how you know it's going poorly, is because now everybody's pointing fingers at everybody else, right? They're all trying to hop off the sinking ship. They're all trying to, we saw this, look, back in 2016 and in 2020, this is what happened when Bernie's campaign started going south. And to be fair, there were a lot of circumstances outside of Bernie, like all the centrists dropping out and endorsing Biden in 2020 that kind of sealed his fate. But as things turned south, everybody in the campaign was pointing fingers at everybody else, right? And that's the stage where we are right now. So it's not a good sign for them. An election expert with an absolutely phenomenal track record breaks down this entire race, Kamala versus Trump, for us. Watch it, check it out. You're going to know who's going to win, and you're going to know why they're going to win, and you're going to know more about the election than anybody else. So subscribe on Substack, links below.